Good morning, everybody. My name's Sharon Pillai, and I work at BCS. I'm the Senior Product Manager. Over to you, Patrick.
Hi, I'm Patrick Miller. I'm the UK and EU Business Development Manager at Questionmark, and we've been working with BCS closely on delivering online assessments.
Wonderful. Good morning, everybody. We're just going to take you off of mute so you can all say hello to us as well, if that's all right. Sure. Hello, everybody. Thanks ever so much, everybody, for dialing in this morning. So what this morning we've invited Patrick along to talk to everybody about the delivery, the different exam delivery options that are available to all of our training providers at the moment. So if we move on to our next slide, we'll be. Oh, yeah. We were just wanting to find out how you currently conduct your assessment. Do you, in the main, do you generally offer online exams or paper exams? What's the majority of the way that you assess people? If you could just, the poll is now open. If you can click on the button and just say whether it is online or paper. Just got a few more people to vote, and then we'll be able to show the results.
Oh, is it on mute? Does that mean?
Okay. Yep. So the results are that of everybody on the line, 73% deliver in paper format in the whole, and 27% deliver online. So thanks, Patrick, got the information there for us. What we'll do is we'll just move on to the next slide. You can copy Patrick and get going with this morning's presentation.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Sharon.
No problem. Over
Great.
to you.
Thank you. So welcome all, and thank you very much for taking out the time today. As mentioned previously, I'm. Can you hear me, Sharon? Just to make sure that the audio is all.
Can you unmute everybody? Or can you mute everybody, because there's so much background noise? Mute everyone except the speakers.
Yeah. If everybody, we have put everybody on mute, but there's obviously some noise still there. There we go.
Ah, perfect, brilliant. Okay, and you can hear me as well.
Just let everybody know that this session is being recorded. Okay.
Perfect, and you can hear me as well, Sharon. Yep.
Yeah. Great.
Perfect, brilliant. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Thanks for attending this morning or this afternoon, or wherever in the world you may be located at this time. My name is Patrick Miller. I'm the UK and EU Business Development Manager at Questionmark. Just a little background. I've worked for Questionmark over 5 years. We've been working, helping customers in various different verticals, so awarding organisations, maybe like yourself, or corporates or universities, fulfil their digital e-learning requirements. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be looking at an overview of Questionmark, who we are and what we do, and how we've been working with BCS. We'll look a little, have a little demo in terms of a video where you can see how the candidate journey works. We'll be looking at the delivery portal, Questionmark Secure. So that's how you securely deliver these tests across the multiple different devices, which you can see on your right hand side. Could be a desktop computer, a laptop, or a mobile device. And we'll look at the two different types of proctoring, essentially using the webcam or using the test center model, which is the classic model that you probably would have used before. So a little background on Questionmark. Been around since 1988. We're founded by our founder, John Kleeman, all that time ago. And we've kind of been evolving through the process of whether that be floppy disks to our internet-based version on demand now. And we're essentially an assessment management system that allows organizations to do things like regulatory compliance, run certifications, knowledge and skills tests, all the way up to higher education. We're fully GDPR compliant and abide by all of the various regulations. So we're also ISO 27001 certified, which means that, again, we have auditors come in making sure that our security is up to scratch. So just a little look at some of the global clients that we have at Questionmark. As I said, you can see down to the bottom left that we've got some awarding bodies that we've been working with in the UK and around the world, as well as whether that be retail, education, public sector and private sector. And we've also got quite a lot of professional services organisations that we work with as well. And again, being able to provide higher education the tools they need to expand their offering, as well as run online or on-site proctor tests, is something that we've been working to do. So when you're thinking about tests, you might be looking at the stakes of that particular test. So if you were doing a quiz or a survey, a basic level quiz or survey, you might want to have, for example, a low stakes test. So the security requirements for that particular assessment would be low. You wouldn't need to, maybe have an invigilator or someone who's proctoring that individual. You might just allow them to take that test and quiz in their own time via a URL link of some kind. So that goes all the way up the curb as you go towards high stakes assessments as well, where you might want to utilize a webcam, Questionmark Secure, or things of that nature. So the general benefits of online assessments really are, it's about reducing that administrative burden. I'm sure that's something that affects a lot of people who are involved in tests, doing them on paper, whether that's collating the papers, making sure they're in the right place, etc. Reducing your long-term costs. Again, people having to travel to test centres, the cost is not just only financial, but on people's time and their ability to take that assessment. And you'd also like the person to be in the most comfortable environment for them when they're taking that assessment as well. There's a delivery options, which you briefly mentioned before. So you've got, computers, tablets, phones. So we've got blended delivery across multiple devices, which means it auto senses the content and controls or the browser for that particular device, and it changes it accordingly. And again, as I said, Questionmark operates at 99.9% uptime, which means that you're able to take these tests once you've got access to the internet, wherever you need to be. So just taking a very quick look at the delivery portal side of things. Questionmark, as I mentioned, we do operate a responsive design, and where you're getting the benefit from that is that you're able to essentially author once, and then once you've authored that question once, then you're able to deliver it across the multiple devices. So you only have to create one version of that particular question. And then, as I said, as you can see in the example here, the button that would be next question would just be kind of changed to an arrow if that was being taken on a smartphone of some kind. So quick thing to also mention, and what we work in conjunction with in the online proctor side of things, that's utilizing the webcam, that's Questionmark Secure Browser. Now, Questionmark Secure Browser is part of the product that we provide and that BCS has access to. It's essentially one setting for multiple platforms. It would be something that you'd be able to download to your Windows, Mac, iOS device. We also have it coming for Android also very soon as well. And the reason you'd have Questionmark Secure really is to, again, reduce content theft, improve your exam integrity, and essentially lock down the browser once the individual had launched that test. And it means that they couldn't do things like Control-Alt-Delete. They couldn't, again, there's many things that are mentioned there, but also goes all the way down to things like accidentally exiting the exam, which you could potentially do on your way. So if we're looking at Questionmark, who we are, what we do, and how we are able to deliver our assessment securely, bringing up the stakes of that assessment, when we take it away from, for example, your quizzes and your surveys and move to the higher level assessments, you might want to utilize live online proctoring or on-site proctoring. Now, again, the traditional method was your kind of bricks and mortar test center, where you would, again, go to your kind of training venue. We still do provide options to be able to do that as well. And then you've got live online proctoring with a real-time webcam. And this involves having a live human proctor at the other end who would authenticate the exam environment and then utilize the webcam and the microphone. So what I'm going to do at this stage is just to quickly play you a brief video on online proctoring, just so you're able to get a better idea of what the candidate journey would be like from the live online proctored side of things, and then we can look at some of the on-site proctored side as well. So bear with me, let me just get my video up here for you, and 1 second. That should be on your screens now. So you play that.
You're about to take an online proctored exam. Online proctoring allows you to take an exam online from the comfort of your home or office while being monitored by a real person using your webcam. But what do you need to do before your exam? What are the rules and restrictions? Let's go through the steps together. The first step is to configure your time zone. The time zone is used when displaying your appointment time, so it's important. The next step is to install Questionmark Secure Browser on the device that you'll use to take your exam. Questionmark Secure will ensure that your information is stored securely and provide you with a great exam experience. Once Questionmark Secure is installed, run the system check. You'll need to do this from the place that you'll take the exam. If your system check is unsuccessful, check that you have the latest version of Adobe Flash installed and that your webcam, microphone, and speakers are working correctly. If you're still unable to successfully complete the system check, reach out to technical support, who will be happy to help you. Once your system check is successful, you're now ready to schedule your exam. Scheduling is flexible. You choose a time convenient to you and can reschedule if necessary. Once you've booked your exam appointment, you'll receive a confirmation email with your appointment details and a step-by-step guide of what you'll need to complete. Your exam link will become active 15 minutes before your appointment time. We suggest that you log in 10 minutes before your scheduled appointment. To take the exam, you'll need a well-lit, quiet, private room, the computer with a webcam, microphone, and speakers that you successfully completed the system check with, a stable internet connection, and a government-issued ID, such as a passport or driver's license. You'll then be prompted to repeat the system check. Once the system check is complete, you'll be able to connect with the online proctor via audio, video, and chat. The proctor will welcome you to the session and begin by taking you through the authentication process. You'll be required to present your identification to the proctor before your exam is started. The proctor will take a photograph of your identification. You will help your proctor check the environment is appropriate prior to starting the exam by panning your surroundings using the webcam on your computer. An appropriate testing environment means You're alone in the room and will not be disturbed during your exam. The table or desk is clear of any materials. The room is quiet. Your cell phone is switched off and stored away out of sight. Any desk phones are disconnected or blocked for incoming calls. The proctor may ask you to hold up a reflective surface such as a CD or mirror to show the edges of your monitor. The proctor will inform you of the rules and regulations that apply to the exam. Once you've acknowledged and accepted these rules, you'll be able to begin your exam. You're now ready to take your online proctored exam. We wish you every success.
So perfect. So that was a brief look at the candidate journey for online proctoring, where you're able to securely take an exam. So just kind of stepping back to the slides, live online proctoring essentially was a way where you could conveniently provide your online exam delivery for high stakes assessments for individuals to be able to take at home or in the workplace, all being monitored by a proctor. All of this works in conjunction with Questionmark Secure, so it's kind of part of that package that we provide. Now, this is something that, again, BCS have available, but one of the other things I wanted to also talk about today, not just live online proctoring and the kind of candidate journey that you'd go through that, but also look at on-site proctoring, which is, again, your test center model, but essentially taken to utilizing the type of controls that a remote proctor would have in a test center. So
Can I just jump in here a second?
Yes.
I just wondered if it's okay if anyone's got any questions about the online proctoring, if you'd like to ask them now. We'll take you off of if you would like to ask a question, please take yourselves off of mute and ask the question, and away you go.
Morning, it's Joyce from Privacy.
Hi.
I just wanted to double check, what do you mean by system check? And when you're doing a check on somebody's laptop, phone, what information is sort of collected and what information is then stored by Questionmark?
So a system check is simply a way of checking that the operating system and the machine that the individual is using can actually has the ability to run, for example, the test and the webcam. So it's simply just making sure that their operating system on their computer can essentially handle what it is that needs to be done. Now, I would say that, you know, most computers, or the vast majority of them, it's absolutely fine. It would be only if someone was using a very old computer. And in terms of the information, we're not actually taking any personal information or anything of that kind. It's literally just making sure that the computer essentially is working for that online proctor test.
That's fine. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else with a question at all? No. I just, one of the frequent questions that we regularly receive, Patrick, is that large corporate organisations heavily have their hardware devices heavily locked down. Which organisations do you work with? Are you able to share? Which are large organisations that are able to successfully utilise Questionmark and how that works?
Well, as I said, we work with a lot of large organisations who utilise Questionmark Secure, depending on the level of stakes of that particular assessment. However, there's many different ways that you can do Questionmark Secure. So if you do have a security firewall of some kind, then initially we can always provide the IP addresses that you would need to whitelist in order to gain access to, for example, the on-demand servers. If it's the Questionmark Secure browser, which is actually a downloadable piece of software itself, then we do provide also on the Questionmark website, you're able to run a test on Questionmark Secure, essentially, where you can launch an assessment on our website, just from the browser, utilizing Questionmark Secure to make sure that, if you were to encounter any challenges doing that you could basically sort that out beforehand. So again, as I said, you could always run a test on our website, download the Questionmark Secure browser, launch a practice test, and make sure that everything would be fine before kind of going headfirst into that.
Okay, and so as you just mentioned, the whitelisting of some URLs, so they can be supplied ahead of time to any organisation, so that they can prepare themselves to allow their employees to have access to Questionmark.
Yeah, so the whitelisting is the IP address. So Questionmark has a specific IP address that we would be able to provide for the whitelisting. But for the most part, most organizations that we work with don't have an issue on that side. It would probably be, just as I said, on the downloading of the Questionmark Secure software, which, as I said, you're able to kind of run a practice run of that, where you'd be able to detect any issues, and then as I said, bring that forward to the IT team, who'd be able to either give you the correct accesses or we'll be able to find a way to get that working for you.
Lovely, thank you very much. Anybody else have questions?
Yeah, any other questions on online proctoring?
No? Okay, on we go.
Perfect, brilliant. So as mentioned, live online proctoring, it's utilizing the webcam. It's giving you that bandwidth of having people being able to take that exam from anywhere. However, in certain situations, being able to use the test center is also going to be, a part of what needs to happen. So what on-site proctoring solution does is it allows you to, for example, the proctor or the invigilator, you're able to pause, unpause, and stop the tests of an individual or a group within the actual test center. And again, so that helps you have a much better control in terms of your content, scoring. You can reduce that cheating curve, and then the reliability and defensibility of your exams are much higher. So what does that look like? So if I just go through here, my slides, just find my slide page. Here we go. Perfect. So from the candidate exam view, a candidate would log in they're in their test center, they've logged in, and they can see at the top right hand side my assessments. So those are the assessments that have been scheduled for this individual to take, and then obviously there's that My Results tab as well. And this is a particular proctored exam. So this on-site proctored assessment had been set up by the administrator, where they give it an event name. So it could be BCS 101, a particular site. So that's obviously a location, or a particular site, based on that particular college, for example. A date, the exam, and being able to launch it. So once that's launched, if we look at this split screen here, from the kind of user's point of view, so the candidate would be able to again log in and put their password based on what was given to them, but then the proctor would have multiple participants, and then they would have those proctor controls, as you can see on the right hand side. So we've got Donald, Bruce, and Matthew ready to get cracking. And what I can do is obviously give them access to start the exam. So the person might have an exam code, or as the invigilator, I would have the code. So I could obviously add that in, and that person would then start their exam, and it'd been unlocked successfully. So then again, I'm in the room, and I am as the invigilator, that is, and I have access to my PC, and I'm watching all of my candidates take their exams. So what I can do, one of the options I have is to pause the exam. So again, if I saw that I thought that Wes was potentially talking to someone, I could pause Wes's exam. And at that point, I could, as the proctor, go over to Wes, have a brief discussion. And Wes had assured me that he was only doing something innocent. So at that point, I also have the option, as mentioned here, if warranted, I can add back some time after the brief discussion that I had with Wes to give him some additional minutes to complete that exam. And if we got into a position where it was not viable to give them the additional time, then we can also kind of terminate that exam. And again, that's something that the exam proctor can do. And as I said, that would be, I guess it would not go down as a completed assessment. And then whatever processes that you would have kind of externally from Questionmark to kind of take that down could be done from that stage. So at this point, I just wanted to ask, was there any questions on the on-site proctoring? Do you guys use test centers at all? Is it something that would be potentially of interest to you?
Anybody got any thoughts?
Hi, it's Joyce again. Just a quickie, you're saying test centre, but
Yes.
would you be able to do it in, say, our training centre, if it was for our own students?
It can be done anywhere where there is an connection, which the candidates would be counted as a test centre to us. Really, so yeah, anywhere where a group of individuals are being invigilated while taking a test would classify as a test centre, and you'd be able to run it from there accordingly.
Okay, anybody else with any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself.
Yeah, for the on-site testing, we quite often have that delegates are not, they have issues downloading the software, which they've done that at home with no problem. But then when they're ready to start the exam, it's then when they have issues to run it.
Yeah, so on that side, if someone had already done a test at home that was successful, and then they went to a test center in order to take that test, I would say in the first instance, it would be incumbent on the test center, if they were providing the machines, to make sure that Questionmark Secure was installed on them. Now, we also do have an option for something called a silent install, which allows you to install Questionmark Secure across multiple machines at the same time in some clever way. And obviously, we've got some documentation on that. But essentially, yeah.
Oh no, this is for our delegates that come to our classroom course. So we give them all the information, how to download the software. But then when it comes to the day when they take the exam, regular people have issues launching it or running it. That's the feedback we receive from the trainers.
I mean, I would
So
say
when they
that,
were ready to start the exam, that's when the issue appears.
right. So all one can do is, as they say, proper preparation can prevent things of this nature. So being able to run or setting up the environment where the candidate can do a trial of some kind before launching the test. Obviously, at point of them clicking the button and launching the test, if something is to go awry at that particular point, there would be many variables associated with that, which would be on their side or the other side.
But for sure, you can use an iPad.
Yes. So again,
Okay.
exactly. So you've got responsive design. So whether or not they're using a handheld device, so it could be an iPad or another tablet, a mobile, which you probably wouldn't want to be doing a high stakes test on anyway, or as I said, a laptop or a desktop computer, whichever it is, they can use that. And if you think about on the tablet side as well, that gives you the flexibility. We work with a university who their problem was they just didn't have enough space with computers for individuals to sit in there, but they did have room, just not computer rooms. So being able to use the handheld devices with the Questionmark Secure allowed them to kind of utilize the space they had as well.
Okay, thank you. And would it be possible to maybe get a better guide about downloading and launching the software?
100%.
Yeah, for computers, laptops, and so that we can provide that.
Yeah. What I will do is I will get that over to Sharon afterwards, and we can get that passed over to the group. That's no problem.
Okay, great.
We'll get that sent over to you as soon as possible, Charlotte.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your question.
Thank you.
Anybody
Is there any
else?
Yeah.
No? Okay. So back over to you then.
Okay, brilliant. So thank you very much for that. So once again, you've had all of your test takers take their test, they've successfully completed that test. Then again, within Questionmark, and it's just another thing to mention, we do have extensive reporting and analytics, and just very quick brief one. Just to give you a quick overview on this one here, it's just an assessment completion time report, and one could think of this also in the context of a test center. So again, you could run a report, if you think about reports and results, in two ways. One could be, how did the individual perform? Did they pass or fail? Which is obviously, you know, the obvious part that everybody needs to know. And then there's also the other side, which is, how are your assessments performing over a certain period of time, or how valid and reliable they are, how long is it taking for people to complete these assessments. And this is just a brief example of the assessment completion time report. You could essentially run a report on a particular assessment, and then using the kind of scatter plot diagram that they've got there, you can see whether or not individuals either need more time to complete that particular test, or whether or not there could be, you know, under test security, there could be a potential cheating threat, and things of that nature. But as I said, there are obviously extensive reporting to back up a lot of the information that you're getting from the candidate, as well as the tests themselves, to be able to kind of make sure that they're most valid and reliable as they can be. Now, obviously, at this point, I was going to kind of take the floor for questions, and obviously just to let you know that we do have...
for you.
Oh, perfect, brilliant. So let's go it.
What impact does internet connectivity have on the software?
Okay, so Questionmark is a software as a service. It's a turnkey solution that essentially utilizes the internet. So just like you know, anything, you know, any Facebook or YouTube or whatever, you know, if you're offline, then you're not in a good place. But here are the two buts with Questionmark. So the good thing with Questionmark is we do. You don't need a major bandwidth in order to run Questionmark. So you know, as long as you've got a basic internet connection, you should be good to go. Another point to mention is within the assessment settings, you have a feature called Save as you go. And what that means is, if I was taking a test, for example, and I got to question 3, and then my internet dropped, for example, you know, the modem got switched off, and then within 5 minutes the modem was switched on. With the Save as you go option, you can ask either automatically for this to happen or manually, i.e. the test taker can click a button to do this themselves. It automatically save after a predefined amount of time. So you could do this after 1 minute. So after every 60 seconds, you could have everything that the individual, every question the individual had answered up until that point would have been saved to the server. So if they dropped connection and came back, then they'd be able to kind of reconnect from there. We don't provide a totally offline delivery service, which would be, say, on a USB stick or on a disk that you could kind of download, but that is something that we're looking at being able to provide in the future, within the next generation of our product. But yeah, that would be the main answer for that question.
Does anybody else have any questions? Feel free to either unmute or write the question in the question box. No? Okay, so we're going to do a quick couple of polls here now, if that's all right with you guys. So first up, we've got, we're just launching them now. So the first one that we've got is, if you would be willing to move to classroom online proctored exams, what volume would you estimate you would be delivering within the next 12 months? So the poll's open. So if you think that that's an option that would be of use to you, then please feel free to put in a ballpark estimate. If not, then you don't have to vote. So we'll just
Is this about the number of exams?
Yes, exactly that. I think that's everybody voted, is it? Oh, sorry. A couple more maybe. All right, so we've got 73% of you have voted. So the results were 25% thought you'd maybe put through 0 to 20 sittings, 38% of you thought 20 to 50, and then 38% thought 50 to 75. So thank you very much for that. And then we'll move on to our second poll, which is against the online proctored solution, whereby it's the independent proctor and who's watching. So again, if you would be wanting to take up that opportunity, what sort of volume would you estimate within the next 12 months? So over to you for voting. Looks like we're sitting pretty at 64% there. So we'll close that one. So 43% said it'd be 0 to 20, 14% said 20 to 50, and then equally again for 50 to 75, and then 29% saying 75 to 125. So thanks again for that that little bit of spot polling there. Thank you. So back over to you, Patrick.
Brilliant. Thank you guys for taking that poll. So literally just as a wrap up here, Questionmark obviously have many eBooks, white papers, infographics. Again, I'd be more than happy to discuss in more detail online or on-site proctoring. I know BCS are kind of there to kind of support through that as well. I do know, correct me if I'm wrong, Sharon, that we, in terms of the on-site proctoring, these options can be given to some of the guys to utilize if it is of interest to them. So yeah, that's something that you guys can kind of get started with. We have, you know, BCS has kind of account management and support from Questionmark. So if we needed to kind of go through more detail, maybe look at some of the documentation in relation to on-site proctoring, that's something that we're more than happy to provide, and I'll make sure that Sharon has everything that she needs from there as well to be able to pass on to you guys. But again, I'd like to open the floor. There was any other questions or queries, anything you guys can think of? I'd be more than happy to kind of answer in general on online assessments or on-site or online proctored. Just as a brief thing, just to mention there, I know that Sharon was talking about the proctors themselves. So the proctors are obviously it's in English mainly, just in terms of the language that they're delivered in, and in terms of the do's and don'ts for the invigilator, they are, so we work with a partner called Examity, and they are the ones who provide the actual proctors themselves. And the proctors themselves are, of course, they are given due diligence of the type of things to look for, but we're always open to the organizations we're working with. There's something specific to their, that particular exam or a particular vertical that they would like us, the proctors, to review for or to look for specifically. We can provide guidelines to those proctors for that as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, sorry.
And from BCS point of view, if you would like to find out more, the classroom proctored exams, those are already available to all of our training providers at no extra fee. It's simply a case of talking to your key account manager, and they will be able to unlock that for you. It's as simple as the process that you normally do when you're booking your exams and you use ePro, the user interface there. There's simply a choice there for you to select a question mark classroom proctored exam there. If you'd like to find out more, talk to your key account manager. They're fully prepped and will be able to talk you through the process of implementing this. And then also when it comes to the online proctored exams, we've got, there's a small additional fee there because of the additional proctor person, but again, our key account managers can talk to you within that. So yeah, if you'd like any more information, then do get in touch with us. Your key account managers will also be giving you a call as a quick follow-up on this matter as well. So yeah, so thank you very much, everybody. Back over to you, Patrick.
Perfect, brilliant. Thank you for that, Sharon. I didn't have anything additional to add. Any questions or queries open to the floor? And yeah, that was all I had for today, guys.
Okay. So does anybody have any questions? We're going to wrap this up and let you get on with your days. 24 hours. Let's have a look. Is the live online proctoring available for 24 hours a day?
Yes, so yes, we can facilitate whichever time zone that would be needed for live online proctors. And the way that it works is that the candidate or the person who's arranging the exam, it depends. So we have a self-registration where the candidate can just go and register, and i.e. schedule when they want to take the exam themselves, or that we can provide vouchers to the actual organization who would then do the scheduling. But either way, a schedule would be made for that proctor, so they would be made aware of the type of times that they would need to. And we also do provide a next available proctor service, so that would mean that the person could kind of log in, and then the next available proctor they would jump in. So you've got two options there, yeah. But we do support the different time zones.
Okay, thank you. So I've not had any other questions come in. So I'd just like to say thank you very much, Patrick, for joining us today and walking everybody through the Questionmark systems available to us. And thank you everybody that's attended this session this morning. We really appreciate your time and your questions. So thank you very much. And I hope you all have very good days ahead of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you,
Thanks,
Sharon.
guys. I'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.